The Eastern Conference second round is now officially set. What is going on, y'all? FaizSportsTalk back at it with another video talking, of course, some NBA, talking some NBA playoffs. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to go ahead and hit that big red subscribe button because I'm posting a lot of NBA content with the playoffs in full swing. And now the first round in the East is officially over. And we're moving on to the second round. And I posted my preview video for the other matchup between the Celtics and the Bucks. Go ahead and check that out if you haven't already. And now talking about the Sixers versus the Raptors, which in my opinion is going to be the better series and more exciting series between the two in the Eastern Conference. So with that being said, here to talk about the key matchups, what to look for, what not to look for, what each team will try to do, and ultimately who's going to win this series, and give you guys how many games that team will win this series. And so, I don't want to wait any longer. Let's get started. So, right off the bat, I just want to give myself a little bit of credit because I think I deserve it. I predicted both series in 5 games. I predicted the Raptors over the Magic in 5 and the Sixers over the Nets in 5. So feel pretty good about that. Again, don't want to toot my own horn here, but I will. With that being said, again, I didn't get the Portland series right. The other series like the Celtics series, I didn't predict the number of games correctly. So I'm just saying, but again, I will give myself credit for correctly predicting these two first round series. And now these two teams match up, and this is going to be good. Okay, so the first thing I look at when looking at matchups is really what each team can expose about each other. And here's the thing, man. These are two of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, and it's hard to find weaknesses when you're dealing with the best because they're the best for a reason. They don't have very many of these weaknesses. Now, with Philadelphia, they really struggle with, dominating ball handlers that can get to the basket, a la D'Angelo Russell, even Spencer Dinwiddie, punish them in the first round. And with the Raptors, they don't really have a weakness of sort. You just have to target the players on their team that aren't as good on the defensive end, really. And that's really about it. So for me, when I look at the matchups in terms of the starting lineup, you've got Kyle Lowry, you've got Ben Simmons, okay? Advantage Philadelphia. Ben Simmons can obviously play well. You've got Danny Green and JJ Redick. To me, that's a wash. Both guys are very good shooters. Danny Green might be a little bit of a better defender, but again, to me, it's a push. Then you've got Jimmy Butler versus Kawhi Leonard. Now, this is going to be a huge determining factor in this series because to me, you've got a guy in Jimmy Butler that you can stick on Kawhi Leonard, who is the best player for the Raptors, obviously, but it goes both ways, right? Because you'll have Kawhi guarding Jimmy, maybe Kawhi guards Ben Simmons. But again, Jimmy Butler, this is why Philadelphia brought him in. This is exactly why he was traded for, because now you have a guy, a wing player you can throw at the other team's best wing player and let him duel it out, okay? And if Jimmy Butler is able to limit Kawhi Leonard in any sort of way, because again, with superstars, you can't stop them. You can only slow them down or contain them. Then big advantage to Philadelphia. And this matchup, I believe, is going to play a huge role in determining the series. Not saying that, obviously, I believe that Jimmy Butler will take advantage of Kawhi Leonard. He'll play better than Kawhi Leonard. But no, just assuming that he somehow slows him down is a win for Philadelphia. Then we take a look at Pascal Siakam and Tobias Harris. To me, Pascal Siakam's a better forward. At this point, he is easily the most improved player. He was ridiculous in the first round against the Magic. You can make the argument he was the best player for the Raptors against the Orlando Magic. And Tobias Harris is going to have his hands full. But Tobias Harris is, of course, no slouch either. The point being is Siakam, at this point right now, is better than Tobias Harris, or he's certainly playing better. And then you've got Joel Embiid versus Marc Gasol. Now, I've said this before, Joel Embiid, to me, outside of Giannis, is the best player in the Eastern Conference. I believe he's the best player in this series. Yes, I said it, even over Kawhi Leonard. That's just me. But if there's one guy that I hate to kind of have Joel Embiid matched up with, it's a guy like Marc Gasol. Just go look at what Marc Gasol did to Nikola Vucevic in the first round against Magic. He shut him down. And I get it, Vucevic is not Embiid, but he's very, very good, okay? And so Marc Gasol Same thing applies here. If Marc Gasol is able to limit Joel Embiid in any sort of way, it's a wrap for the Sixers in this series. Joel Embiid needs to absolutely dominate for the Sixers to win this series. And to me, it goes both ways, right? So how Philly can win this series, Joel Embiid's the best player in the series. And he plays like it, dominates Marc Gasol for the most part. And then, of course, Jimmy Butler limits or slows down Kawhi Leonard. And Ben Simmons, who I believe is the X factor for the Sixers, really shows up and shows out. He's not shut out like he was last year versus the Boston Celtics, in which I believe in a game they held him to a point. You've got Kyle Lowry on you, Ben. Take advantage if that is the case. But again, if they throw Kawhi Leonard at him, still, you need to get Ben Simmons, going and get him shots around the basket. How Toronto can win the series, Kawhi Leonard plays like the best player in the series, and Marc Gasol limits Joel Embiid. And if that happens, it's a wrap. So that's kind of the blueprint for how each side can win this series. And again, people want to talk about bench depth and on either side. But here's the thing. Playoff time, rotations get much shorter, and it doesn't really matter as much. A few of you guys have told it out in the comment section. That's why I'm bringing this up. Bench depth, I get it. Raptors have the better bench, but to me, I'm not just putting as much stock into that just because the starters play so many more minutes, and again, the rotations are so much more shorter. But again, Raptors do have the deeper bench than the Sixers do. So with that being said, that's kind of how I see the series shaking out is if X happens, then Y happens, right? Because that's really how either side can take advantage. But again, I have to make a prediction on what I believe happens. Now, here's where I stand with this, okay? You guys might think I'm crazy, but I believe in the Sixers a lot. I really do. I remember game 1 against the Nets when they lost. My mentions were blowing up fives. Oh, my God. You're so high on the Sixers, they can't even beat the Brooklyn Nets. And look, okay, they did struggle a little bit against the Nets, but they still got the job done. That's all that matters. I believe in this team because I have said all year long the Philadelphia 76ers have the best starting 5 in the entire conference. That includes the Bucks. That includes the Raptors. They have the best starting 5 in terms of talent, okay? Chemistry, you can make the argument they don't have as much chemistry as the Bucks or the Raptors. But to me, if that ever were to happen, the chemistry comes together, obviously Philly, to me, wins the East. So I am huge on the Sixers. And so for me, I'm obviously leaning towards the side of me believing in Joel Embiid being the best player in the East outside of Giannis and dominating this series. So I don't believe Marc Gasol will obviously slow him down then. And then having Jimmy Butler slow down Kawhi Leonard is really, really going to be key here. And then, of course, the X factor I talked about in Ben Simmons. So again, am I confident? Heck no, okay? But I have to obviously make a prediction. And sometimes you got to go on a limb here, okay? Because here's the thing. People didn't see Portland winning over OKC in 5 games. Crazier things have happened, folks. And you know what? Philly's been getting disrespected all year long. People just don't think they're very good or they don't play up to their standard. And sometimes they don't. But I believe Philadelphia has the right tools to upset Toronto in this series, and it would be an upset just because, again, Philly's the lower seed and they don't have home court advantage. And so, if you can kind of tell where I'm going with this, I am predicting the Philadelphia 76ers to win this series. Now, in how many games? You're probably thinking, okay, definitely it's going to go to length, and it will. But I would have liked to pick them in 7 games. The reason I can't do that is that I just can't see the Sixers winning in Toronto. I just can't do it. So I have to pick the Sixers in 6 games. That's it, okay? I'm picking the Sixers in 6 games because I'm telling you what I see happening is Joel Embiid being the best player in the series and Jimmy Butler slowing down Kawhi Leonard, and hopefully Ben Simmons, being the X factor he is, absolutely dominates. Obviously, the Raptors can absolutely win the series, and they're probably going to be favored to win the series. And I would not be shocked if they do. That's not me hedging my bet. Just want to point that out. If the Sixers lose the series, you can come at me, but I'm going with the Sixers in 6 games. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below. If you agree or disagree, I might be a little, headstrong and kind of stubborn with my Sixers love, but that's just how I feel. And if I didn't tell you guys how I feel, I would not be transparent and be myself. And I always need to be transparent in myself. So let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below if you agree or disagree. As always, thanks for watching.